John C. Maxwell, one of the greatest communicators and author of over 100 books about personal growth and leadership, once said, "If someone were to ask me, what is the one thing I can do to move forward in any area of my life? I'd say, be a better communicator." Welcome to the fifth and final pillar of this communication training. This pillar is about a too often overlooked and misunderstood aspect of communication, which is listening. And the big idea of this fifth pillar is that communication is about shaping a message for the person sitting in front of you. Not just the message, but the delivery of that message. Now, with that in mind, let me ask you a question. How can you craft a good message for anybody if you don't know anything about the person sitting in front of you? Too often, we begin talking before we know what needs to be said. And ancient wisdom tells us we have to listen before we speak. And to shape your best message, that requires your best listening. Take a look at number 1 in your guide. You must find out something about the other person rather than starting with telling them about you and what you know. Now, this takes intentionality and extra effort on our part, but it will pay huge dividends. Investing in listening skills pays off, and it will be evident to those that you're attempting to connect with. And the more you do it, the more others notice and the more attention they will pay to you. Peter Drucker said, 60% of all management problems are the result of poor communication. And John Maxwell says, the majority of all communication problems are the result of poor listening. So look at number 2 in your guide. Why is listening so important? Well, because we all like to be acknowledged and listened to. When we do it for others, we show them that we value them, and it lets them know they are important to us. Remember this. Listening to respond is better than not listening, but it's still a low level of listening. Listening to understand is a much higher level, but it takes intention to be a better listener and regular practice to raise our self-awareness in this area. Number 3, listening places a focus on the other person and shows respect. In this way, we become learners as well as teachers. This mindset is a powerful example of true humility. Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Every man I meet is my superior in some way, and in that, I learn from him." Now, what if we really believed that and applied it to our lives? You know something? We all like to learn, but not everybody likes being taught or being told what they should know. Look at number 4. When you take the posture of a listener, you'll be amazed at how the lines of communication open up. Remember, when we're listening, we are still communicating. And to do this, you must want and allow the other person to speak. Sometimes we forget that communication is not just one way. Look at number 5. There is an important skill set to develop to become a better listener, and it's really simple: to be in the now. Get out of your head and your thoughts and into their world and into their thoughts. Here, you're paying complete attention to the person before you. Not thinking about what you want to say next, but thinking about the other person, what they're saying, to learn something about them. Now be honest. How often do we really do this? The truth is that most people falsely believe they are. And why is that, you may wonder? Well, it's because no one intends to be a bad listener. When you're listening in the now, you're listening to more than just the words they say. You're listening to understand their feelings, which are the actual drivers behind their words. As you listen, look for the meaning behind their words and feelings. Do this and practice listening this way, and you'll see your relationships transform. And since most people don't get listened to this way, you'll become someone who stands out to others. As someone of value who truly wants to add value to others, it's a serious challenge to avoid being the authority or the answer person, even if you are. Listening's big idea is to enlarge your perspective by getting the other person's perspective. And the best way to be interesting to others is to be interested in others. Remember, It's hard work to always be impressive. With that in mind, look in your guide at number 6. How can you be impressive to others? Well, simply by being impressed by others. When we choose to be impressed by others, we must put our ego and pride aside. Sure, there may be times when we're more skilled and experienced, but trying to be more impressive than others is a huge disconnector in the long run. Look at number 7 in your guide. If you want to be accepted by others, show you care for them. People can tell quickly if we care for them or just trying to manipulate or to impress them. Make it a practice to show you care. And the easiest way to do that is to listen to them. Now, not just hear them, but listen well enough to feel what the other person feels. Number 8. If you want to be accepted and loved by others, accept and love them first. The best leaders always go first. Real love gives, so give people your love and value them by giving them your attention. Look at number 9. If you want to communicate with others effectively, listen to them first. Remember the golden rule. What you do for others, others will do for you. Sow it forward. And if you do it consistently and long enough, others will do it for you when you feel the need to be heard. Look at number 10. As a leader, you'll spend your time in 3 key areas. 1/3 helping your team members one-on-one. 1/3 will be spent with your team collectively. And 1/3 of your time will be spent working within your own skill set. Now, with 2/3 of your time spent with people, how important is it to develop your listening skills? If you want your team to grow, you must develop your communication skills, which includes improving your listening skills. As you learn more about the people in your life, you'll discover what matters most to them. Now, we falsely believe we move people by connecting information to their heads, but it's actually hearts and emotions that move people. And the way to the people's heart is to know what they love. And to do that, we must listen and observe. Let's talk about teamwork for a minute. Your team will grow when you recruit and raise up potential leaders. So be the model and set an example for those leaders. Do for them what you want them to do for their teams. Listen to them and find out what they value, what they fear, and their true passions. How else can you help ease your team's fears, inspire them to deal with them, and move forward? Now, do you know these things about your team, family, or closest friends already? Well, if so, you've been listening. Now, active listening is a pursuit, and here's your roadmap to get you on your way. Be intentional and make time to really listen. Schedule listening practice. Avoid assuming anything during that time. And the only way to do that is to let go of any past judgments about the person you're listening to. As a leader, you go first. Go to them, listen, and find that common ground. Get interested in them. Now, folks, it's hard to find common ground if the only person that we're interested in is ourselves. Listen for context. Listen to what's being communicated between the lines. Be in the moment, not thinking of what you're going to say next. Now, John Maxwell always reminds our teams that leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Before you touch a heart, you must know what's in it, so listen. Now, the average person is seeking affirmation and significance. Now, listening well gives it to them. Here are your roadmap principles to making listening a priority. Number 1, make eye contact. Number 2, don't interrupt. Number 3, listen to understand. Number 4, control your emotions. Number 5, suspend judgment. 6, sum it up. And finally, number 7, ask for clarity. To make this lesson work for us, here's our call to action. After this lesson, find someone to partner with who will allow you to practice listening. Get their feedback on how you did with the above 7 listening priorities. And ask them if it made a difference in your interaction with them. Let them know you want to improve at active listening and need their help with brutally honest feedback. Remember, The only way to get better is to practice and get feedback. Now, if you're doing this in a group setting, find someone in the group and practice with them. You might want to find out something that you didn't know about them. Now, here's a simple conversation starter that John Maxwell teaches in his book, Becoming a Person of Influence, called FORM. It's an acronym, and F is for family, so ask questions about their family. Let the conversation flow organically as they tell you about their family, and let what they tell you determine the following question to find out more. Now, use discretion as you do. Don't be probing, just be interested. O is for occupation. Ask about what they do, whether they're working, retired, or attending school. And you might want to ask what they like about what they do at those places. Let your curiosity be organic, but remember, not probing questions, be interested, not nosy. R is for recreation. Ask about what they do for fun. And you can ask more questions about what they like about it, and again, let it flow organically. Use your entire body to lean in and be interested. Now, M is for mission. Ask about what really matters most to them. Now, this question should unfold as a conversation opens up. Now, getting to this question shouldn't be your goal, but the opportunity will unfold if the conversation continues with a genuine interest in knowing more about the person that you're talking with. Now, practice all 7 techniques of your roadmap as you engage the other person with this FORM model and watch your relationships transform. This is all for the 5 pillars. Make them your pillars to support your communication. Pillar 1 is engagement. Work to connect with others. Pillar 2 is authenticity. Work to be the best version of yourself. Pillar 3 is content. Have something good to say that relates to those that you speak to. And Pillar 4 is preparation. Don't wait to speak to others before preparing to speak. And Pillar 5 is listening. Practice listening to others and find out what they need so that what you say is relevant to them. There are 3 bonus teachings in this training for those who want to learn more about communication. So join me for the first one. Communication is your greatest asset.